How? By teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom. Now, well, how do we do that to one another? By singing.
Yeah.
By singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Now, a third of us, Dr. Clark and I, have a particular view of what that means, at least, and maybe some of the others are with us. But apart from how we
you should sketch that out, right? So just so everybody knows that until the modern period, we all more or less knew what psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs meant. These are categories in the Septuagint. So when Paul lists these out, and I've heard this, actually, I've heard it in a Reformed pulpit, said that psalms are psalms, hymns are, what we think of as non-canonical hymns, and spiritual songs are essentially choruses. I've heard that in the pulpit. That's not right at all. There's no basis for that in Colossians. First of all, it's grossly anachronistic, right? You can't read what we do back into the first century. Secondly, Paul didn't invent these categories. There are at least four kinds of psalms in the Septuagint, the Greek translation of the Hebrew Bible, and psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs are three of those four categories, and he probably is implying the fourth.
I have an article from Confessional Presbyterian where I break down all those categories. It's available for free on Academia. Paul, something about Paul in the Septuagint Psalter, and I give a chart of all the uses. Not that that's interesting, but I want to. No,
it's important so that people know that this isn't just arbitrary. And because when I first heard this, and then for years, people mocked it. Oh, it just means psalms, and psalms. And that's how it was put to me.
If this command is the means by which the word of Christ would dwell in us richly,
that's right.
It would in fact make sense that the thing we are singing is the word of Christ.
And it's not the word of Isaac Watts.
Right? But without getting, I'm 100%.
Can I tell a story? A few years ago, Chris had us sing. Our pastor, Chris Gordon, had us sing a psalm, and he's told me which one it was, and to my shame, I don't remember. It was in the 120s, and we sang it a cappella. And before, I think in the second stanza / verse, the members of the congregation were reduced to tears. It was the single most powerful religious experience in corporate worship I've ever had. And we were singing a psalm a cappella. And the reason was
as if the things that God gives us could
exactly
have these transformative effects upon us without us making things up.
I have sung with, Covenanters who, if you want to know how to sing with Covenanters, and maybe that's true in the ARP too, because they have that tradition. But it was amazing, and the power of it was that we could hear each other singing God's word. When the organ is cranking away and the piano is going, especially with the organ, we have wonderful musicians in our congregation, but when the organ's going, it's the dominant voice, and we're supplementary. But when we're singing a cappella, then we are the voice, we are the instrument, and it is it's an amazing existential experience, and that was the experience of the apostles. That was the experience of the ancient church.